11. Upgrade your key skills. The only certain means of success is to render more and better service than is expected of you, no matter what your task may be. O.G. Mandino. Upgrading your skills is one of the most important personal productivity principles of all. Learn what you need to learn so that you can do your work in an excellent fashion. The better you become at eating a particular type of rock, the more likely you are to just plunge in and get it done. A major reason for procrastination is a feeling of inadequacy, a lack of confidence, or inability in a key area of a task. Feeling weak or deficient in a single area is enough to discourage you from starting the job at all. Continually upgrade your skills in your key result area. Remember, however good you are today, your knowledge and skills are becoming obsolete at a rapid rate. As Pat Riley, the basketball coach, said, anytime you stop striving to get better, you are bound to get worse. Never stop learning. One of the most helpful of all the time management technique is for you to get better at your key tasks. Personal and professional improvement is one of the best time savers there is. The better you are at a key task, the more motivated you are to launch into it. The better you are, the more energy and enthusiasm you have. When you know that you can do a job well, you find it easier to overcome procrastination and get the job done faster and better than under any other circumstances. One piece of information or one additional skill can make an enormous difference in your ability to do the job well. Identify the most important things you do and then make a plan to continually upgrade your skills in those areas. Rule: continuous learning is the minimum requirement for success in any field. Refuse to allow a weakness or a lack of ability in any area to hold you back. Everything is learnable, and what others have learned, you can learn as well. When I began to write my first book, I was discouraged because I could use only the hand and pack method of typing, and I soon realized that I had to learn to touch type if I was ever going to write and rewrite a 300-page book. So I bought a touch typing program for my computer and practiced for 20 to 30 minutes every day for 3 months. By the end of that time, I was typing 40 to 50 words per minute. With this additional skill, I have been able to write more than 40 books that have not been published all over the world. And the best news is that you can learn whatever skill you need to be more productive and more effective. You can become a touch typist if necessary. You can become proficient with a computer, you can become a terrific negotiator or a salesperson, and you can learn to speak in public, you can learn to write effectively and well, and these are all skills you can acquire as soon as you decide to and make them a priority. 3 steps to mastery. First, read in your field for at least 1 hour of every day and get up a little earlier in the morning and read for 30 to 60 minutes in a book or magazine that contain information that can help you to be more effective and productive at what you do. Second, take every course and seminar available on the key skills that can help you. Attend the conversation or the convention and business meeting of your profession or occupation. Go to the session of workshop, sit up front and take notes, broadcast the audio recording of the program. Dedicate yourself to becoming one of the most knowledgeable and competent people in your field. And third, listen to audio programs in your car. The average car owner sits behind the wheel 500 to 1000 hours each year while driving from place to place. Turn driving time into learning time and you can become one of the smartest, most capable, and highest paid people in your field simply by listening to educational audio programs as you drive around. The more you learn and know, the more confident and motivated you feel, and the better you become, the more capable you will be of doing even more in your field. The more you learn, the more you can learn. And just as you can build your physical muscle through physical exercise, you can build your mental muscle with mental exercises, and there is no limit to how far or how fast you can advance except for the limits you place on your own imagination. Eat That Frog. Number 1. Resolve today to become a to-do-it-yourself project and become a lifelong student of your craft. School is never out for the professional. Number two, identify the key skills that can help you the most to achieve a better and faster result. Determine the core competencies that you will need to have in the future to lead your field, and whatever they are, set a goal, make a plan, and begin developing and increasing your ability in those areas, and decide to be the very best at what you do. 12. Leverage your special talent. Do you work not just your work and no more but a little more for the lavishing sake, that little more which is worth all the rest? Dean Briggs. You are remarkable. You have special talent and abilities that make you different from every other person who has ever lived. And there are frogs you can eat and or learn to eat, and that can make you one of the most important people in your business or organization. There are certain things that you can do or learn to do that can make you extraordinarily valuable to yourself and to others. And your job is to identify your special areas of uniqueness and then to commit yourself to becoming very, very good in those areas. Increase your earning ability. Your most valuable asset in terms of cash flow is your earning ability. Your ability to work enables you to bring tens of thousands of dollars into your life every year by simply applying your knowledge and skills to your role. This is your ability to eat specific frogs faster and better than others. You could lose everything you own, your house, your car, your job, your bank account, but as long as you still had your earning ability, you could make it all back and more besides. Take stock of your unique talent and abilities on a regular basis. What is it that you do especially well, and what are you good at? What do you do easily and well that is difficult for other people? Looking back at your career, what has been most responsible for your success in life and work to date, and what have been the most significant frogs you have eaten in the past? Do what you love to do. You are designed such that you will most enjoy doing the very things that you can be the very best at. What is that you enjoy the most about your work, and what kind of works do you most enjoy eating? The very fact that you enjoy something means that you probably have within yourself the capability to be excellent in the area. One of your great responsibilities in life is for you to decide for yourself what you really love to do and then to throw your whole heart into doing that special thing very, very well. Look at your various tasks and responsibility. What is it that you do that gets you the most compliment and praise from the other people? What do you do that positively affects the work and performance of other people more than anything else? Successful people are invariably those who have taken the time to identify what they do well most enjoy. They know that they do that really makes a difference in their work, and they then concentrate on that task or area of activity exclusively, and you should always focus your best energies and abilities on starting and completing those key tasks that your unique talent and abilities enable you to do well, and that make a significant contribution. You cannot do everything, but you can do those few things in which you excel, and the few things that you can really make a difference. Eat that frog. Number one, continually ask yourself these key questions. What am I really good at? What do I enjoy the most about my work, and what has been most responsible for my success in the past? If I could do any job at all, what job would it be? If you won the lottery or came into an enormous amount of money and you could choose any job or any part of a job to do for the indefinite future, what work would you choose? Number two, develop a personal plan to prepare yourself to do your most important tasks in an excellent fashion and focus on those areas where you have special talent and that you must enjoy. This is the key to unlocking your personal potential. Number 13, identify your key constraint. Concentrate all your thoughts on the task at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. Alexander Graham Bell. Between where you are today and any goal or objective that you want to accomplish, there is one major constraint that must be overcome before you can achieve that major goal. Your job is to identify it clearly And what is holding you back? What sets the speed which you achieve your goals? What determines how fast you move from where you are to where you want to go? And what stops you or holds you back from eating the fruits that can really make a difference? Why are not you at your goal already? These are some of the most important questions you will ever ask and answer on your way to achieving high levels of personal productivity and effectiveness. Whatever you have to do, there is always a limiting factor that determines how quickly and well you get it done, and your job is to study the task and identify the limiting factor or constraint within it. You must then focus all of your energies on alleviating the single choke point. Identify the limiting factor. In virtually every task, large or small, a single factor sets the speed at which you achieve the goal or complete the job. What is it? Concentrate your mental energies on that one key area. This can be the most productive use of your time and talents, and this constraint may be a person whose help or a decision you need and a resource that you require, a weakness in some part of the organization or something else, but the limiting factor is always there. It is always your job to find it. For example, the purpose of a business is to create a keep cost and keep customers. By doing this in sufficient quantities, the company makes profit and continues to grow and flourish. Every business has a limiting factor or choke point that determines how quickly and well the company achieves this purpose. It may be marketing, the level of sale, or the sales force itself. It may be the cost of operation or the method of production. It may be the level of cash flow or cost, and the success of the company may be determined by the competition, the customers, the current marketplace. One of these factors, and more than anything else, determine how quickly the company achieves its goal of growth and profitability. What is it? The accurate identification of the limiting factor in any process and the focus on that factor can usually bring about more progress in a shorter period than any other single activity. The 80-20 rule applied to constraints. The 80-20 rule also applies to the constraint in your life and in your work. This means that 80% of the constraint, the factors that are holding you back from achieving your goals, are internal. They are within yourself, within your own personal qualities, abilities, habits, disciplines, or competencies, or they are contained within your own company or organization. Only 20% of the limiting factor are external to you or to your organization. Only 20% are on the outside in the form of competition, market, governments, or other organization. Your key constraint can be something small and not particularly obvious. Sometimes you have to make a list of every step in the process, examine every activity to determine exactly what is holding you back. Sometimes a single negative perception or objection on the part of the customer can be slowing down the entire sales process. Sometimes the absence of a single feature can be holding back the growth of sales of a product or service line. Look into your company honestly. Look within your boss or coworkers and members of your staff to see if there is a key weakness that is holding you or the company back, acting as a brake on achievement of your key goals. Look into yourself. Successful people always begin the analysis of constraint by asking the questions, what is it in me that is holding me back? They accept completely responsibility for their life and look to themselves for both the cause and cure their problems. And you all know you must have the honesty to look deeply into yourself with the limiting factor of or limiting scale that sets the speed at which you achieve your own personal goals, and keep asking, what sets the speed at which I get the results I want? Strive for accuracy. The definition of the constraint determines the strategy that you use to alleviate it. The failure to identify the correct constraint or the identification of the wrong constraint can lead you off in the wrong direction. You can end up solving the wrong problem. A major corporation, a client of mine, was experiencing declining sales. The corporation's leader concluded that the major constraint was the quality of the sales force and the sales management. They spent an enormous amount of money recognizing and the management and retaining the salespeople. They later found that The primary reason that sales were down was a mistake made by an accountant who had accidentally priced their product too high relative to their competition in the marketplace. Once the corporation revamped its pricing, its sales went back up and returned to profitability. Behind every concern of choke point, once it is located and alleviated successfully, you will find another constraint or limiting factor, whether you are trying to get to work on time in the morning or build a successful career, and there are always limiting factor and bottleneck. And at the speed of your progress, your job is to find them and to focus your energies on alleviating them as quickly as possible. Starting off your day with the removal of the key bottleneck or a constraint fills you full of energy and personal power. It propels you into following through and completing the job, and there is always something. Often alleviating a key constraint or limiting factor is the most important frog you could eat at that moment. Eat that frog. Number 1. Identify your most important goal in life today and what is it? What one goal, if you achieve it, would have the greatest positive effect on your life, and what one career accomplishment would have the greatest positive impact on your work life. Number 2, determine the one constraint, internal or external, that sets the speed at which you accomplish this goal. Ask, why haven't I reached it already? What is it in me that is holding me back? Whatever your answers, take action immediately and do something. Do anything but get started. Number 14, put the pressure on yourself. The first requisite for success is the ability to apply your physical and mental energies to one problem incessantly without growing weary. Thomas Edison. The world is full of people who are waiting for someone to come along and motivate them to be the kind of people they wish they could be. The problem is that no one is coming to the rescue. These people are waiting for a bus on a street where the buses pass. If they don't take a charge of their life and put the pressure on themselves, they can end up waiting forever, and that is what the most people do. Only about 2% of people can work entirely without supervision. We call these people leaders, and this is kind of person you are meant to be and that you can be if you decide to be. To reach your full potential, you must form the habit of putting the pressure on yourself and not waiting for someone else to come along and do it for you. You must choose your own frogs and then make yourself eat them in their order of importance. Lead the field. See yourself as a role model for others. Raise the bar on yourselves. The standard you set for your own work and behavior should be higher than anyone else could set for you. Make it a game with yourself to start a little earlier, work a little harder, and stay a little later. Always look for ways to go the extra mile and to do more than you are paid for. Your self-esteem, the core of your personality, has been defined by psychologist Nathaniel Branden as the reputation you have with yourself. Do you build up or pull down your reputation with yourself with everything you do or fail to do? The good news is that you feel better about yourself whenever you push yourself to do your best, and you increase your self-esteem whenever you go beyond the point where the average person would normally quit. Create imaginary deadlines. One of the best ways for you to overcome procrastination is by working as tough you had only one day to get your most important job done. Imagine each day that you have just received an emergency message that you will have to leave town tomorrow for a month. If you had to leave town for a month, what would you make absolutely sure that you could get done before you left? Whatever your answer, go to work on that task right now. Another way to put pressure on yourself is to imagine that you just received an all-expense paid 1-week vacation at a beautiful resort as a prize, but you will have to leave tomorrow morning on the vacation or it will be given to someone else. What would you be better determined to get finished before you left so that you could take the vacation? Whatever it is, start on the one job immediately. Successful people continually put the pressure on themselves to perform at high levels. Unsuccessful people have to be instructed and supervised and pressured by others. By putting the pressure on yourself, you will accomplish more and better tasks faster than ever before. You will become a high-performance, high-achieving personality, and you will feel terrific about yourself, and bit by bit you will build up the habit of rapid task completion that will then go on to serve you all the days of your life. Number 15, maximize your personal powers. Gather in your resources, rally all your faculties, marshal all your energies, and focus all the capacities upon mastery of at least one field of endeavor. John Haggai. The raw material of personal performance and productivity is contained in your physical, mental, and emotional energies. Your body is like a machine that uses food, water, and the rest to generate energy that you then use to accomplish important tasks in your life and work. When you are fully rested, for example, you can get 2 times, 3 times, and 5 times as much done as when you are tired or burned out. One of the most important requirements for being happy and productive is for you to guard and nurture your energy levels at all times. Overworking can mean underproducing. The fact is that your productivity begins to decline after 8 or 9 hours of work. For this reason, working long hours into the night, although it is sometimes necessary, means that you are usually producing less and less in more and more time. The more tired you become, the worse the quality of your work will be, and the more mistakes you will make. At a certain point, you can reach the wall and simply be unable to continue, like a battery that is run down. Work at your own pace. There are specific times during the day when you are at your best. You need to identify these times and discipline yourself to use them on your most important and challenging tasks. Most people are at their best in the morning after a good night's sleep, and some people are better in the afternoon. A few people are most creative and productive in the evening or late at night. A major reason for procrastination is fatigue or attempting to start on a task when you are tired, you have no energy or enthusiasm like a cold engine in the morning. You can't seem to get yourself started whenever you feel overtired and overwhelmed with too much to do and too little time to stop yourself and just say, all I can do is all I can do. Sometimes the very best use of your time is to go home early and to go bed and sleep for 10 hours straight, and this can completely recharge you and enable you to get 2 or 3 times as much work done the following day and have a far higher quality than if you had the continue working long into the night. Get enough sleep. According to many researchers, the average American is not getting enough sleep relative to the amount of work he or she is doing. Millions of Americans are working in a mental fog as the result of working too much and sleeping too little. One of the smartest things you can do is to turn off the television and get to bed by 10 p.m. each night during the week. Sometimes 1 extra hour of sleep per night can change your entire life. Here is a rule for you. Take 1 full day off every week. During this day, either Saturday or Sunday, absolutely refuse to read, clear correspondence, catch up on things from the office, or do anything else that exhausts your brain. Instead, go to a movie, exercise, spend time with your family, go for a walk, or participate in any activity that allows your brain to completely recharge itself. It is true that a change is as good as a rest, and take a regular vacation each year. Both long weekend and 1 and 2 week breaks to rest and rejuvenate. You are always the most productive after a restful weekend or a vacation. Going to bed early 5 nights a week, sleeping in on the weekend, and taking on 1 full day of each week will ensure you that you have far more energy. This added energy will enable you to overcome procrastination and get started on your major tasks faster and with the greater resolve than you ever could if you were tired. Guard your physical health. In addition to getting lost of rest, to keep your energy level at their highest, be careful about what you eat. Start the day with a high protein, low fat, low carbohydrate breakfast. Eat salad with a fish or chicken at lunch. Avoid sugar, salt, white flour, product, and dessert. Avoid soft drink, candy bars, pastries. Feed yourself as you would feed a world-class athlete before a competition, because in every respect that's what you are before starting work each day. Aim to exercise about 200 minutes each week, the agreed standard for excellent level of fitness. This is equal to about 30 minutes per day and can be achieved by going for a walk before or after work or by walking short stretches during the day. You can swim, use exercise equipment, or play sport, but build exercise into your daily routine, just as if it were a business appointment. By eating lean and healthy, exercising regularly, and getting lots of rest, you will get more and better work done easier with a greater satisfaction than ever before. The better you feel when you start work, the less you will procrastinate and the more eager you will be to get the job done and get the other tasks. High energy levels are indispensable to higher level of productivity, more happiness, and the greater success in everything you do. Eat that frog. Number 1, analyze your current energy level and your daily habits. Resolve today to improve your level of health and energy by asking the following questions. What am I doing physically that I should do more of? And what am I doing that I should do less of? What am I not doing that I should start doing if I want to perform at my best? What I am doing today that affect my health that I should stop doing altogether. Number 2, select one activity or behavior that you can change immediately to improve your overall levels of health and energy. Practice that one action over and over until it becomes a habit, then select a second way to improve and begin on that. Whatever you answer are the above questions, take action today. Number 16, motivate yourself into action. It is in the compelling zest of high adventure and a victory and of a creative action that man finds his supreme joys. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. To perform at your best, you must become your own personal cheerleader. You must develop a routine of coaching yourself and encouraging yourself to play at the top of your game. Most of your emotions, positive or negative, are determined by how you talk to yourself on a minute-to-minute basis. It's not what happens to you, but the way that you interpret the things that are happening to you that determines how you feel. Your version of event largely determines whatever this event motivate or demotivate you. Whether they energize or de-energize you, to keep yourself motivated, you must resolve. To become a complete optimist, you must decide to respond positively to the words, action, and reaction of the people and situation around you. You must refuse to let the unavoidable difficulties and setbacks of a daily life affect your mood or emotion. Control your inner dialogue. Your level of self-esteem, how much you like and respect yourself, is essential to your level of motivation and persistence. You should talk to yourself positively all the time to push your self-esteem. Say things like, I like myself over and over until you begin to believe it and behave like a person with a high performance personality. To keep yourself motivated and to overcome feeling of doubt or fear, continually tell yourself, I can do it, I can do it. When people ask you how you are, always tell them, I feel terrific. No matter how you really feel at the moment or what is happening in your life, resolve to remain cheerful and upbeat. As Viktor Frankl wrote in his best-selling book, Man's Search for Meaning, the loss of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Refuse to complain about your problems, keep them to yourself. As speaker humorist Ed Foreman says, you should never share your problem with others because 80% of people don't care about them anyway, and the other 20% are kind of glad that you have got them in the first place. Develop a positive mental attitude. In Martin Seligman's 22-year study at the University of Pennsylvania, summarizing his book Learn Optimism, he determined that optimism is the most important quality that you can develop for personal and professional success and happiness. Optimistic people seem to be more effective in almost every area of life. It turns out that optimists have 4 special behaviors, all learned through practice and repetition. First, optimists look for the good in every situation. No matter what goes wrong, they always look for something good or beneficial. And not surprisingly, they always seem to find it. And second, optimists always seek the valuable lesson in every setback or difficulty. They believe that difficulties come not to abstract, but to instruct. They believe that each setback or obstacle contains a valuable lesson they can learn and grow from, and they are determined to find it. Third, optimists always look for the solution to every problem. Instead of blaming or complaining when things go wrong, they become action-oriented and they ask questions like, what's the solution? What can we do now? What's the next step? Fourth, optimists think and talk continually about their goals. They think about what they want and how to get it. They think and talk about the future and where they are going rather than the past and where they came from, and they are always looking forward rather than backward. When you continually visualize your goal and ideals and talk to yourself in a positive way, you feel more focused and energized. You feel more confident and creative. You experience a greater sense of control and personal power. And the more positive and motivated you feel, the more eager you are to get started, and the more determined you are to keep going. Eat that frog, number one. Control your thoughts. Remember, you become what you think most of the time. Be sure that you are thinking and talking about the thing you want rather than the things you don't want. Number two, keep your mind positive by accepting complete responsibility for yourself and for everything that happens to you. Refuse to criticize others, complain, or blame others for anything, and resolve to make progress rather than excuses. Keep your thoughts and your energy focused forward on what you can do right now to improve your life, and let the rest go. 17. Get out of the technological time sink. There is more to life than just increasing its speed. Gandhi. Technology can be your best friend or your worst enemy. As we race into the 21st century, bombarded by information from all sides, many people seem to have a irresistible, if not obsessive, need to communicate continually with people everywhere in their personal and business life. This compulsion to communicate incessantly, entailing the non-stop use of cell phone, BlackBerry devices, personal digital assistant, the internet, and various contact management systems such as Microsoft Outlook and Maximizer tend to leave people psychologically breathless, and we have no time to stop, smell the roses, and collect our thoughts. You have a choice. At the same time, many high-powered, hard-working, high-productive people functioning in the data center of communication technology are not overwhelmed by technology. They seem to have their life largely under control, and Bill Gross, manager of more than $600 billion in fixed income funds and bonds, is famous for exercising regularly and meditating daily to keep center while using no technology at all. He turns off his phone, leaves his BlackBerry in his office, and exercises without continual interruption of people who have an overwhelming need to stay connected. And he says that he never misses an important message. For you to stay calm, clear-headed, and capable of performing at your best, you need to detach on a regular basis from the technology and communication devices that can overwhelm you if you are not careful. Don't become addicted. In Washington not long ago, I was at a business luncheon with a room full of high-level executives. Prior to the beginning of the luncheon, and one of the organizers stood up and said this short grace. Everyone bowed their heads when the grace was over, and the luncheon began. However, at my table, 4 or 5 out of the 8 people seems to have been greatly affected by the prayer. They kept their heads down and their hands in their laps even when the food was served. This seems to be the loss in deep thought over the profound question of the day. Then I realized that they were not praying at all. They were all instantly focused on their BlackBerry devices, sending and receiving email, working their little keyboard like a frantic teenager playing video games, and they were all lost to the world around them as they messaged back and forth, some of them with other people in the same room. They had fallen into a technological trap, a deep sink full of information exchange in which they were drawn in. Technology is your friend. The purpose of modern technology is largely to increase the speed, efficiency, and accuracy of the transfer of information of all kinds. Technology is meant to help us improve the quality of our life by enabling us to accomplish our key tasks and communicate with the key people in our world faster and more efficiently than ever before. But the use of communication technology can quickly become a form of addiction. People get up in the morning and immediately check to see if they receive any phone calls or voicemail message on their cell phones. They then race to their computer to pull up their email to see if anyone communicated with them overnight. They call the office to find out if anyone has done or said anything in the last few hours that they should know about. They check their Microsoft Outlook calendars, their personal digital assistant, and their BlackBerry devices, another form of communication technology, every 5 or 6 minutes to make sure that they are not missing anything. This has to stop before it gets out of control. Take back your time. One of my clients with distribution of in 19 states found himself bound and chained to his computer, receiving and responding to emails several hours each day, and the more time he spent at his computer, the fewer of his other important tasks he was able to get done. The stress caused by these undone tasks, building up like a avalanche overhang, started to affect his personality, his health, and his sleeping habit. We taught him about 80-20 rule and how it applied to the emails. Fully 80% of the email that he received were of no value and should not even be opened. They should be deleted immediately. Of the remaining 20%, only 20% of those, or 4%, of his email actually required an immediate response of some kind. The other 80% could be ignored temporarily or transferred to an action folder where they could be dealt with one at a time. Standardize and delegate. My client felt that no one else had the ability to sort his email more than 300 per day, and that he had to do it himself. No matter how much time it took, we encouraged him to sit down with his secretary and go through his email, showing her which ones were important and which ones were unimportant, and how to deal with the most common questions and requests. To his surprise, within 2 hours, his secretary knew enough to handle the most of his email for him. From then on, she would come in each morning and delete the 80% of email that were of no value. She would transfer the essential email requesting personal action by her boss into a separate folder. If there was a question about an email, she would transfer it to a process folder for him to look at his convenience. At our standing meeting, he told me that he had tracked the results of this exercise and calculated that he was now saving 23 hours per week that he could spend on eating his frog and completing his most important tasks. Here is a question for you. How would your life change if you had an extra 23 hours each week with which to think, work, plan, talk with the key workers, or even go for a walk with your spouse? Refuse to be slave. A journalist for Fortune magazine wrote recently that when he arrived back at the office after 2 weeks of vacation, more than 700 emails were waiting for him. He realized that it would take him a week to get through them all, and during which time he wouldn't be able to tackle any of the project waiting off his desk. For the first time in his career, he took a deep breath and punched the delete all button, erasing those 700 emails forever. He then got busy with the projects that were really important to him and his company. His explanation was simple. I realized that just because if somebody sends me an email, it doesn't mean that they owned a piece of my life in terms of my saving to reply to them, and now or ever. In addition, it occurred to me that if the email was really important, the sender would send it again, and that's exactly what happened. A servant, not a master. For you to be able to concentrate on those few things that make the most difference in your business or personal life, you must discipline yourself to treat technology as a servant, not as a master. Technology is there to help you, not to hinder you, and the purpose of technology is to make your life smoother and easier, not to create complexity, confusion, and stress. One of the best rules for dealing with technology is just to leave it off. Resist the urge to start turning on communication devices as soon as you wake up in the morning. Leave the radio off, leave the television off, leave your cell phone off, leave your computer off until you have plan and organize your day. Deliberately create zones of silence in your life where no one and nothing can break through and reach you. Maintain your inner calm by forcing yourself to stop on a regular basis and listen to the silence. Sometimes, to get more done of higher value, you have to stop doing things of lower value. Keep asking yourself what's important here, what is important for you to accomplish at work, and what's important in your personal life. If you could only do one or two of the activities available to you, which ones would they be? Continuous contact is not essential. Remember, when you go away for a day, a week, or a month on vacation or in a business and you are out of touch with your communications devices, nothing happened. The world seems to continue ever-evolving whether or not you are in continuous contact with it, and problems get solved, answers get found, work gets done, and life continues to flow along like an old man river. Very few things are so important that they cannot wait. People often ask me at my seminars, but don't you have to keep current with the news by reading newspaper, listening to the radio, and watching television? I tell them, if it is really important, someone will tell you. If something important happened at home, at work, in the country, or in the world, someone else can spend hours following the news for you, and he or she will usually tell you on the first possible occasion. Many people discontinue this newspaper subscription, stop watching broadcast news on television, and refuse to listen to the radio, and surprisingly enough, they remain well informed on most important subjects, and someone always keeps them up to date, and you should do the same. Eat that frog. Number 1. Resolve today to create zones of silence during your day-to-day activities. Turn off all communication devices and technology for 1 hour in the morning and the hour in the afternoon. If you will be amazed at what happens. Nothing. Number 2. Resolve to take one full day off each week during which you do not touch your computer and check your BlackBerry or make any attempt to keep in touch with the world of technology. At the end of a day without contact except by voice, your mind will be calm and clear, and by giving your mental batteries time to recharge, free from the incessant interruption of communication, you will be more relaxed, aware, and alert. 18. Slice and dice the task. The beginning of a habit is like an invisible thread, but every time we repeat, we straighten the strand. Add to it in another filament until it becomes a great cable and binds us irrevocably thought and act. Origin sweat margin. A major reason for procrastinating on a big important task is that they appear so large and formidable when you first approach them. One technique that you can use to cut a big task down to size is the salami slice method of getting work done. With this method, you lay out the task in detail and then resolve to do this one slice of the job for the time being, like eating a roll of salami one slice at a time, or like eating an elephant one bite at a time. Psychologically, you will find it easier to do a single small piece of a large project than to start on a whole job often. Once you have started and completed a single part of the job, you will feel like doing just one more slice, and soon you will find yourself working through the job one part at a time, and before you know it, the job will be completed. Develop a completion to closure. An important point to remember is that you have deep within you an urge to completion, or what is often referred to as a completion to closure. This means that you actually feel happier, more powerful when you start and complete the task of any kind. You satisfy the deep conscious need to bring finality to a job or project, and the sense of completion or closure motivate you to start the next task or project and to persist toward final completion. This act of completion triggers the list of endorphin in your brain that was mentioned earlier. And the bigger the task you start and complete, the better, the more elated you feel. The bigger the frog you eat, the greater the surge of personal power and energy you experience. When you start and finish a small piece of a task, you feel motivated to start and finish another part, then another, and so on. Each small step forward energizes you. You soon develop an inner drive that motivates you to carry through to completion, and this completion gives you the great feeling of happiness and satisfaction that accompanies any success. Swiss cheese your task. Another technique you can use to get yourself going is called the Swiss cheese method of working. You use this technique to get yourself into gear by resolving to punch a hole in the task, like a hole in the block of a Swiss cheese. You Swiss cheese a task when you resolve to work for a specific time or period on it, and this may be as little as 5 or 10 minutes, and after which you will stop and do something else. You will just take one bite of your frog and then rest or do something else. The power of this method is similar to that of the salami slice method. Once you start working, you develop a sense of forward momentum and feeling of accomplishment. You become energized and enthusiastic. You feel yourself internally motivated and propelled to keep going until the task is completed. You should try the salami slice or the Swiss cheese method on any task that seems overwhelming when you approach it for the first time. You will be amazed at how helpful each technique is in overcoming procrastination. I have several friends who have become best-selling authors by simply resolving to write one page or even one paragraph per day until the book was completed, and you can do the same. 19. Create large chunks of time. Nothing can add more power to your life than concentrating all your energy on a limited set of targets. Nido Quabin. Most of the really important work you do requires large chunks of unbroken time to complete. Your ability to carve out and use this block of high-value, highly productive time is central to your ability to make a significant contribution to your work and your life. Successful salespeople set aside a specific time period each day to phone prospect rather than procrastinating or delaying on a task that they don't particularly like. The result of that they will phone for one solid hour between 10 and 11 a.m. or for example, and they discipline themselves to follow through on their resolution. Many business executives set aside a specific time each day to call customers directly to get feedback and to return phone calls or to answer correspondence. Some people allocate specific 30 to 60-minute time period each day for exercise, and many people read great books 15 minutes each night before retiring. In this way, over time, they eventually read dozens of the best books ever written. Schedule blocks of time. The key to success of this method of working in a specific time segment is for you to plan your day in advance and schedule a fixed time period for a particular activity or task. Make work appointments with yourself and then discipline yourself to keep them. Set aside 30, 60, 90-minute time segment that you use to work on and complete important tasks. Many highly productive people schedule specific activity in pre-planned time slots all day long, and these people build their work life around accomplishing the key tasks one at a time. As a result, they become more and more productive and eventually produce 2 times, 3 times, and 5 times as much as the average person. Use a time planner. A time planner broken down by day, hour, minute, and organized in advance and can be one of the most powerful personal productivity tools of all. It enables you to see where you can consolidate and create blocks of time for concentrated work, and during these working times, turn off the telephone, eliminate all distraction, and work non-stop. One of the best work habits of all is to get up early and work at home in the morning for several hours. You can get 3 times as much work done at home without interruption as you ever could in a busy office where you are surrounded by people and bombarded by phone calls. Make every minute count. When you fly on business, you can create your office in the air by planning your work thoroughly before you depart. When the plane takes off, you can work non-stop for the entire flight. You will be amazed at how much work you can go through when you work steadily in an airplane without interruptions. One of the keys to high level of performance and productivity is that to make every minute count, use travel and transition times and what are often called give of time to complete small chunk of larger tasks. Remember the pyramid, we're built one block at a time. A great life or a great career is built one task, and often one part of a task at a time. Your job is time management is to deliberately and creatively organize the concentrated time period you need to get your key jobs done well and on schedule. Eat that frog wine. Think continually of different ways that you can save, schedule, and consolidate a large chunk of time, and use these 3 times to work on important tasks with the most significant long-term consequences. Number 2, make every minute count and work steadily and continuously without diversion or distraction by planning and preparing your work in advance, and most of all, keep focused on the most important result or for which you are responsible. 20. Develop a sense of urgency. Don't wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command. And better tools will be found as you go along. Napoleon Hill. Perhaps the most outward identifiable quality of high-performing men and women is action orientation. They are in a hurry to get their tasks key tasks completed, and highly productive people take the time to think, plan, and set priorities. They then launch quickly and strongly toward their goals and objectives, and they work steadily, smoothly, and continuously. As a result, they seem to power through enormous amount of work at the same amount of the time that the average person spends socializing, wasting time, and working on low-value activities. Getting into flow. When you work on your most important tasks at a high and continuous level of activity, you can actually enter into an amazing mental state called flow. Almost everyone has experienced this at some time. Really successful people are those who get themselves into this state far more often than average. When you are in the state of flow, which is the highest human state of performance and productivity, something almost miracles happens to your mind and emotions. You feel elated and clear. Everything you do seems effortless and accurate. You feel happy and energized. You experience an tremendous sense of calm and increased personal effectiveness in the state of flow. Identify and talk about over dysentery. You actually function on a higher plane of clear clarity, creativity, and competence. You are more sensitive and aware. Your insight and intuition function with incredible precision. You see the interconnectedness of people and circumstances around you. You often come up with brilliant ideas and insight that enable you to move ahead even more rapidly. Trigger high performance in yourself. One of the ways you can trigger this state of flow is by developing a sense of urgency. This is an inner drive and desire to get on with the job quickly and get it done fast. It is an impulsion that motivates you to get going and keep going. A sense of urgency feels very much like a racing against yourself. With this ingrained sense of urgency, you develop a bias for action. You take action rather than talking continually about what you are going to do. You focus on specific steps you can take immediately. You concentrate on the thing you can do right now to get the result you want and achieve the goals you desire. A fast tempo seems to go hand in hand with all the great success. Developing the tempo requires that you start moving and keep moving at a steady rate. The faster you move, the more impelled you feel to do, even faster you enter the zone. Build up a sense of momentum. When you regularly take continuous action toward your most important goals, you activate the momentum principle of success. This principle says that although it may take tremendous amount of energy to overcome inertia and get started initially, it then takes far less energy to keep going. The good news is that the faster you move, the more energy you have. The faster you move, the more you get done and the more effective you feel. The faster you move, the more experience you get and the more you learn. The faster you move, the more competent and capable you become at your work. A sense of urgency shifts you automatically onto the fast track in your career. The faster you work and the more you get done, the higher will be your level of self-esteem, self-respect, and personal pride. You feel in complete control of your life and your work. Do it now. One of the simplest and yet most powerful ways to get yourself started is to repeat the words do it now, and do it now over and over to yourself. If you feel yourself slowing down and become distracted by conversation or low-value activities, repeat to yourself the words back to work, back to work, back to work, and over. In the final analysis, nothing will help you more in your career than for you to get the reputation for being the kind of person who gets important work done quickly and well. This reputation will make you one of the most valuable and respected people in your field. Number 21. Single-handled every task. Herein lies the secret of true power. Learn by constant practice how to husband your resources and concentrate them at any given moment upon a given point. James Allen. Eat that frog. Every bit of planning, prioritizing, or organizing comes down to this simple concept. Every great achievement of humankind has been preceded by a long period of hard, concentrated work until the job was done. Your ability to select your most important task to begin it and then concentrate on it single-mindedly until it is complete is the key to high level of performance and personal productivity. Once you get going, keep going. Single handling requires that once you begin, you keep working at the task without diversion or distraction until the job is 100% complete. You keep urging yourself onward by repeating the words back to work over and over whenever you are tempted to stop or do something else. By concentrating single-mindedly on your most important task, you can reduce the time required to complete it by 50% or more. It has been estimated that the tendency to start and stop a task, to pick it up, put it down, and come back to it can increase the time necessary to complete the task as much as 500% each time you return to the task. You have to familiarize yourself with where you were when you stop and what you still have to do. You have to overcome inertia and get yourself going again. You have to develop momentum and get into the productive work rhythm. But when you prepare thoroughly and then begin, refusing to stop or turn aside until the job is done, you develop energy, enthusiasm, and motivation. You get better and more productive, and you work faster and more effectively. Do not waste time. The truth is that once you have decided on your number one task, anything else can you do other than that is a relative waste of time. Any other activity is just not as valuable or as important as this job, based on your own priorities. The more you discipline yourself to working non-stop on a single task, the more you progress along the efficiency curve. You get more and more high quality work done in less and less time. It's time you stop working, however, you break the cycle and move back along the curve to where every part of the task is more difficult and time-consuming. Self-discipline is the key. Albert Hubbard defined self-discipline as the ability to make yourself do what you should do and when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. The final analysis success in any area requires a ton of discipline. Self-discipline, self-mastery, self-control are the basic building block of character and high performance. Starting a high priority task and persisting with that task until it is 100% complete is the true test of your character, your willpower, and your resolve. Persistence is actually self-discipline in action. The good news is that the more you discipline yourself to persist on a major task, the more you like and respect yourself, and the higher is your self-esteem. And the more you like and respect yourself, the easier it is for you to discipline yourself to persist even more. By focusing clearly on your most valuable task and concentrating single-mindedly until it is 100% complete, you actually shape and mold your own character. You become a superior person. You feel stronger, more competent, more confident, and happier. You feel more powerful and productive. You eventually feel capable of setting and achieving any goal. You become the master of your own destiny. You place yourself on an ascending spiral of personal effectiveness on which your future is absolutely guaranteed, and the key to all of this is for you to determine the most valuable and important things you could possibly do at every single moment, and then eat that frog. Eat that frog, number one. Take action. Resolve today to select the most important task or project that you could complete, and then launch it into it immediately. Number two, once you start your most important task, discipline yourself. The best server without diversion or distraction until it is 100% complete. See it as a task to determine whether you are the kind of person who can make a decision to complete something and then carry it out. And once you begin, refuse to stop until the job is finished. Conclusion: putting it all together. The key of happiness, satisfaction, great success, and a wonderful feeling of personal power and effectiveness is for you to develop the habit of eating your frog first thing every day when you start work. Fortunately, this is a learnable skill that you can acquire through repetition, and when you develop the habit of starting on your most important task before anything else, your success is assured. And here is a summary of the 21 great ways to stop procrastinating and get more things done faster, and review these rules and principles regularly until they become firmly ingrained in your thinking and action, and your future will be guaranteed. Number one, set the table. Decide exactly what you want. Clarity is essential. Write out your goals and objectives before you begin. Number two, plan every day in advance. Think on paper. Every minute you spend in planning can save you 5 or 10 minutes in execution. Number three, apply the 80-20 rule to everything. 20% of your activity will account for 80% of your result. Always concentrate your effort on that top 20%. Number 4, consider the consequences. Your most important tasks and priorities are those that can have the most serious consequences, positive or negative, on your life or work. Focus on this above all else. Number 5, practice creative procrastination. Since you can't do everything, you must learn to deliberately put off those tasks that are of low value so that you have enough time to do the few things that really count. Number 6, use the ABCD method continually before you begin work on a list of tasks. Take a few moments to organize them by value and priority so you can be sure of working on your most important activities. Number 7, focus on key result areas. Identify and determine those results that you absolutely, positively have to get to do your job well and work on them all day long. Number 8, the law of 3. Identify the 3 things you do in your work that account for 90% of your contribution and focus on getting them done before anything else. You will then have more time for your family and personal life. Number 9, prepare thoroughly before you begin. Have everything you need at hand before you start. Assemble all the papers, information, tools, work material, and work numbers you might require so that you can get started and keep going. Number 10, take it one oil barrel at a time. You can accomplish the biggest and the most complicated job if you just complete it one step at a time. 11. Upgrade your key skills. The more knowledgeable and skilled you become at your key tasks, the faster you start them and sooner you get them done. 12. Leverage your special talent. Determine exactly what it is that you are very good at doing, or it could be very good at it, and throw your whole heart into doing the specific things very, very well. 13. Identify your key constraint. Determine the bottleneck or choke points, or internal or external, that set the speed at which you achieve your most important goals and focus on alleviating them. 14. Put the pressure on yourself. Imagine that you have to live on for a month and work as if you had to get all your major tasks completed before you left. 15. Maximize your personal power. Identify your period of highest mental and physical energy each day and structure your most important and demanding tasks around these times. Get lots of rest so you can perform at your best. 16. Motivate yourself into action. Be your own cheerleader. Look for the good in every situation and focus on the solution rather than the problem. Always be optimistic and constructive. 17. Get out of the technological time sink. Use technology to improve the quality of your communication, but do not allow yourself to become a slave to it. Learn to occasionally turn things off and leave them off. 18. Slice and dice the tasks. Break large, complex tasks down into bite-sized pieces, and then do just one small part of the task to get started. 19. Create large chunks of time. Organize your days around a large block of time where you can concentrate for extended periods on your important tasks. 20. Develop a sense of urgency. Make a habit of improving fast on your key tasks. Become known as a person who does things quickly and well. 20. Are the last, single-handle every task. Set a clear priority. Start immediately on your most important task and then work without stopping until the job is 100% complete. This is the real key to high performance and maximum personal productivity. Make a decision to practice this principle every day until they become second nature to you, and with this habit of personal management as a permanent part of your personality, your future success will be unlimited. Just do it. Eat that frog. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.